and gentlemen, as darkness fell across the land in somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Australia. I'm not going to say where he actually is in Brisbane because he's not. He's buggered off somewhere else. Where are you now, son?
I'm in mid-north coast, New South Wales, Laurelton.
I'll pick it up from there. As darkness fell across the land in New South Wales, Laurelton, Ryan Blue Bowen joined us live.
Oh, I only have my guns out. You can't see anything. Yeah.
That black yeah. I mean, honestly, what are you weighing now, mate? What are you weighing?
93. I'm back on the way up. I came down for the lemon, and now I'm heading back up.
93 kilograms in body weight, filling up one side of the screen, and then we move.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you can't see it.
No, you can't. It's there. It's ever present. It's just blending into the night. That sinister look that you go with whenever you're in the car. As we move to the opposite side of the screen, weighing in at 175 kilos of man. Coming live and direct from a small town near Wigan is mighty Paul Maiden. Thanks, pal. Welcome to the show, Paul. Welcome to the show, Ryan. How's it hanging, lads?
Ryan, guest first.
Mate, I'm doing real well. I always appreciate the opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to the chance to have a chat with you, Paul, about all things Australia v UK.
That's it. You guys have met before, but never so intimately. It's always before, but and you got to be careful when you say that around Paul. Let me tell you now, he's not. You've got to be a bit careful. But you've met each other in. Did you bump into each other at the WAL that never was in 17?
No, I wasn't there.
Never off. You didn't go, did you not?
No, I didn't go.
Great match between Paul and Danny Sesh.
Jordan Davis kicked my ass that day. I tried to kill myself by getting under 165 pounds. And
I'm making notes, Paul. Jordan Davis at his ass.
Listen, I don't want to talk about Jordan Davis, mate. That stupid tour, I'd leave him out of this conversation. He just needs a bath.
He needs to get off the PCP.
We didn't meet then. I didn't qualify. Jordan kicked my ass. They stuffed up the draw. I got eliminated from a double elimination tournament with one loss. So I didn't go.
That is quite harsh. And now he's a wild star and Jordan's not in there. Cruel irony, that, mate. I'll tell you what, it must be the wobbly eggs. Tell you what, Jordan, if you're watching this, son, say no to drugs. Yeah. We were going to get him on. We were actually going to get Jordan on today, and we were going to get Tom Holland on, and that will come, ladies and gentlemen. But the reason that we brought this together is because in the wide, wide world of social media, these two mother fluffers are off. It started. Now, let's rewind a bit here, eh? Because when did we start talking about the Smashes originally, Ryan? Last year, wasn't it? It was like,
late last year, you mentioned it to me as a potential for June, I think it was, during a strongman meet, and yeah, it's an awesome concept. So I naturally was like, hell yes, let's do that. Let's do that.
Well, there's always been that rivalry between the Aussies and the Brits, and in all sports, and I mean, well, I say all sports, I can only play two. But the two that the Aussies play, and, our wider sphere of sports with the Brits. So we started talking about this and we thought, who would match well from the Aussie setup? Because joking aside, Australia have got a really good model in arm wrestling. They're really progressing well. I mean, if you look at Ryan, your club, how many people in the Brisbane club now, mate?
50.
50 pullers in the Brisbane club, which even Paul would have to take his hats off to. That's pretty decent, isn't it? Yeah, hats off. Now, Club Torture, Paul, you're ramping up a fair few pullers there yourself, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, we've got about 20 guys in our team now. Obviously, we're in a rebuilding stage. The northwest of England, since we had your club down back in the day when we had like 50, 60 guys, we've sort of lost a lot because they've been retiring. We're all old bastards like us. And, we're in a rebuilding stage, but we're in a really good rebuilding stage.
Yeah, there's a real buzz around UK and Ireland arm wrestling at the moment, without a shadow of a doubt, and I think that's sort of echoed over in Australia. So we came up with the idea of putting the best of the Aussies and Kiwis, to be honest. You know, it doesn't have to be just Aussies. If you've got any Kiwi lads over there, the best of sort of Oceanic region against the best of the Brits, and we can see how that one goes down. And then, within that sort of little concept...
Can I just stop you there 1 minute?
You can, Paul. I knew you would.
Right, okay, no. Right. So, the moment that these lads get off the plane in those yellow and gold tracksuits...
Yeah.
Sorry, yellow is it? Yellow and green tracksuits, because they're all yellow bastards.
Yellow and green.
Yeah. So, as soon as they get off there, I want drug tested, every single one of them. Because in 70s, they got done for match fixing rugby. Shane Warne got done for mauling with cricket ball. And there's no way on this earth that these lads are coming to England clean. None. I want them tested.
Well, you've already said that Jordan Davis needs a wash.
Yeah. With an elephant brush.
Just like Shane Warne's famous leg spinner, my top roll is just going to go right around you. You're not even going to see it coming, mate. It's going to take out that... No.
I've seen your top roll one guy, and that's with his hand like that. Are you going to top roll me?
Yeah, I've seen you've got a problem with Southern Hemisphere pullers. I think was it Calvin Petrus, another Southern Hemisphere boy. I saw him bust your wrist back in China.
Whoa, sweet child of mine. Who the hell is that, Paul?
It's a certain gentleman from Malaysia. Actually, unlike Ryan, we went 20 minutes into making the conversation of why he lost to Jordan Davis. I'll just put it out there and just say the better man won on the day, Neil. Where this gobshite has got to go on about, what it was, I tripped over my shoelace, I injured my toe, I hit my left bollock. You're just full of shit, Ryan. End of the day, I don't make excuses. I got beat by the better men. But you're the one who goes on all carrying on talking crap. We'll see what happens when you get over in England and I put you through part to strangle you and dry bum you.
I love it.
That's a bit concerning. I mean...
Quickly.
That's quite concerning, that. Just say, lads, if I do have any editing skills that I manage to sort out, I might take out the last little element of that comment that Paul just threw down, right? So it sounds a little bit more benign when you're watching this show. Trust me, I've learned some editing skills. Now then, Jesus, we escalate quickly. Let's keep it on arm wrestling and not, what happens in prison on a bad day. Anyway, Ryan, mate.
Yo.
You didn't call out Paul, did you? If you're looking at the UK setup, who would you like to arm wrestle? Or would you have liked to arm wrestle?
Honestly, the UK scene, there's a little bit of banter going on with Tom Holland as well. But Tom and Jordan, I think, need to really sort it out. But I've always actually wanted a match with you, Neil, as well. Well, I don't want to call you out, but
that's fine, mate. I'd be honoured to pull you. I really would. I mean, I don't actually train now, but if I'll probably get leathered. But if I came back and did a little bit of work, I keep saying that I will at some point. It's just I keep coming against no time, no hours at all. But I'd like to. I'll be up for that. No problem.
Honestly, I just in general, I like the Australia UK opportunity. I mean, as much as we were the outcasts from the UK, sent down here to be convicts to work for you and all that as you conquered a new land, we inevitably became better. There was a time when the scales tipped and you all became envious of us and we had the better land and we grew broader shoulders and stronger hands and wrists and all that sort of stuff happened.
That's through an open bathroom window, like.
Ryan, can I have my granddad's wallet back, please?
I'm still doing time for it, so it's all good. I'm not allowed to leave the country right now because of it. But but I just love the story there so much that I think that I mean arm wrestling's been around longer in the UK than it has Australia in a organised sense. Without knowing the exact history of it in the UK, I know it's longer than Australia. So I feel like this is just the perfect opportunity to to kind of reawaken the UK a bit. I mean, I think nothing more would motivate the UK than getting walloped by a bunch of Aussies.
Neil, I know you're as passionate as me about that one, and just the fact that he wants a match with you, you could answer, or just want me to go?
Well, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm more than happy to arm wrestle Ryan. I genuinely believe, and this is there's nothing behind this, but pure honestly, this is what I think. Right now, if we were to do the series, I had envisaged myself being in the capacity that I'm ordinarily in terms of commentating it. And why is because, and I mean this with the greatest of respect, I don't think there's anybody else can do that as well as I can in this certain area, because I know the arm wrestlers, that's an area that I've gravitated towards. And the other thing that I would say there is, I probably don't deserve to arm wrestle in it as much because of the fact that there's a lot of hungry arm wrestlers out there that are getting up in the morning and thinking about arm wrestling and thinking about training their hand and wrist and thinking about doing things to compete and enjoying it and loving it. And I'm not that guy. It's just not something I'm doing. So I'd almost feel like a bit guilty in terms of doing that. I mean, if you were absolutely set on me, Ryan, yeah, I'd have to lose some weight because I'm a bit bigger than you. I'm like 104, 105 kilos, so it's not really fair.
Yeah,
if
that's
you're
on
coming
your
in
scale, though, Neil.
Yeah, but
that's on your scale, and everyone knows your scale is 10 kilo wrong.
I think on any scale, I'd be around 104, 105 kilos, which is like, 15 kilos heavier than you? Well, 12 kilos heavier, so I'd have to lose a bit of weight, which also, that thought does not appeal to me.
But honestly, it's been very interesting how, Paul, you and I have kind of almost accidentally fallen into this scenario where we're trash talking each other, because I don't actually know where.
I haven't trash talked anybody. I think you're both twats. But I haven't tracked,
That's your one swear word, Neil.
Yeah, T-Wats. I haven't trash talked anybody.
Like, I'll be honest, Paul, how long have you been pulling, Paul? I don't know your entire story.
I started as a novice in January '99. And then, pretty much did a one novice tournament down at Neil's. Neil used to run about 20 tournaments a year. And it was the first one I jumped in. And then I pulled Armwrestling 2 in May. Professional tournament, did well, got third. And then just pretty much progressed from there. So, yeah, I've had a good career. Ups and downs, obviously. But, yeah, I've had a good career. And I think that it'll be a good match. See, I respect you as a puller. Because you've grafted. I've seen you when you were pulling Anil. And I've seen where you've come from that point. You've done really well. You can't knock you. You're the best self-promoter of your own brand in the sport. You're up there with the likes of them top guys. But unfortunately, you're not them top guys. You're like, you remind me of going out on a night out, pulling an unbelievable fit bird, getting back. They're waiting for you. Disappointed.
Oh, God.
That's what you remind me of.
I actually have a story that was something almost close to that. Not exactly, but I was in Malaysia. We got kids watching, but don't worry, I'll keep it PG.
Well, right. I distinctly remember saying before we came on, let's try and keep this clean, guys. Okay? Keep it clean. Okay, I'm going to go back to that. Well, let's revisit it. Paul?
Yeah, it's cool.
Try harder.
And, Ryan, if there really is any truth in what you've just said and that there's a story very similar to that, I'm not sure to it.
Yeah. Ryan, all I'm going to say on it before we go any further is, I hope you treated it well.
No, but I appreciate you saying that I using that analogy of being able to pick up a fit bird, but it's not quite there. I do agree. I represent myself way always ahead of where I'm at. It's something that pushes me along and always does help me to keep training hard and keep accountable. And it's just been me since I was a kid. When I was 5 years old, I wanted to be in Division 1. when I was only worthy of Division 3. But it was the hunger to be in Division 1 that kept me going. And once I got to Division 1, I'm like, well, hell, let's go and be the state champion, even though I'm not even the regional champion yet. It's just always been my psyche. But I got to tell you the Malaysia story. I can't let this one go. Worlds Malaysia 2015. Which, it's alright, Neil. It's alright. Worlds, I forget my jacket. We're all walking to the venue. I forget my jacket. I say to the left, I gotta go back and get my jacket. I get in the lift. I'm on like floor 16. I press floor 16. It stops at floor 6. And three lady boys get in. And as soon as those doors close, they are all over me. And I'm like, in the back of my, come on. The critical thing was, they pushed every floor button between mine and 16. Like, I was trapped. There was no getting out of there. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, hang on, there's just 3 men here. I can't really, if they want to take me down, they can take me down. Stuck in the lift for about 3 floors and I got out and I had to do the rest by stairs. And when I finally got back down, the boys are like, dude, what took you so long? And I tried to explain it to them and they're like, yeah, sure, you got out of the lift. How much did it cost you, Ryan? Anyway, that's the story.
And just at that point, before my countryman chimes in, if we're going down the story time route, Paul, leave it. Because we all know where your stories can end up, son. Let's keep it on. I mean, that's a scary guy when it comes to story time. You do not need that. And if you do need that, maybe get yourself over to Paul's YouTube channel. Paul, give us that YouTube channel, mate.
UK and Ireland YouTube channel in Mighty's Corner. Get there, please subscribe. All the matches in the UK. You'll see interviews, rants, everything's going on there at the moment. It's really building at UK, so please press that little button and subscribe and you'll catch a lot more of me and possibly the fat lad as well on this right-hand side of my screen.
And if you want to also check out some arm wrestling content that's slightly cleaner and a bit more highbrow, then Ryan Bowen, give us your YouTube channel, brother.
It's Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling. Yeah, good stuff. Appreciate it.
UK and Ireland and Pound for Pound, these guys representing hard. And get over there, guys. There's some absolutely spot-on content from both lads. And that hopefully has just detuned Paul enough that he doesn't go down the storybook angle.
Neil, I've already had my pre-warning. I promised you that I wouldn't go down them roads for you. I understand that your monetisation could be slightly affected due to a conversation of Ryan's 3 lady boys, and what I would have done in the lift, not what Ryan did, what I would have done is completely different than getting out on number floor 12.
Yeah, what you'd have done in the lift would have had Operation U-Tree coming down on you by the time you got back to the UK, so we'll leave that.
So I guess to arm wrestling, for me, a match with yourself, Paul, is a match that I do respect greatly as well, and it's like, I'm a super ambitious dude within my own head. I want to go a long, long, long way. And getting to pull someone like yourself who's been at it for 20 years now it's always a test. Like, I believe that I'm a great arm wrestler in a technical sense, in a super match sense. And whenever I pull experienced arm wrestlers that have been doing it forever, it really tests me on that. So regardless of strength, regardless of whatever, the combat side of a match with someone who genuinely is a 20-year puller intrigues the hell out of me. I love that opportunity. And so I respect that a lot in you and anyone that's a seasoned puller. So I'm keen. I'm keen for a match.
Yeah, sure. I appreciate that, Ryan. I think I see this as my 3rd career. I mean, year 1 to 10, as Neil knows, I was in a bad way. I died a few times. We managed to come back. And leading up to that point, I generally was getting to a point where I was pretty much untouchable at UK, Neil. That's fair to say. You
got really, really solid, mate. Really solid.
At that point, I thought to myself, within 12 months, 2 years.
And just to stop you there, Paul, and also if you want to see some of the match action at the time with Paul there, you can check it out. I think we've got quite a lot of that stuff in Arm Wars. So if you
last match before I went down,
yeah. So you can see Paul's sort of progression. You'll see where he went to. Paul, I'm just trying to think your other Paul's mate. You pulled Iron Curtain, didn't you, as well?
Me and Tommy and Iron Curtain, yeah, when Tommy was up there, I think about 5th at World at the time.
Well, that was, when you and Tommy was Mighty Quest, wasn't it? Or was that Iron Curtain?
No, that was Iron Curtain. Mighty Quest was the one that you named.
Sorry, Acid Rain, you pulled against, you pulled Milne at Acid Rain, didn't you?
Yeah, I beat Milne and then beat Tommy Cocker again same day.
Yeah. So, go back, check those out, guys. That's on wars.com and you'll see.
So you know.
Inside. Well, that's an interesting thing, like you at 115 or 110 or whatever it was that you'd be when we meet. That does send alarm bells for me straight away on just the getting supinated and just bone on bone. I mean, I wouldn't be cracking that straight up round one, banging on in there. It'd be that's kind of asking a lot of my connective tissue straight up. But like what played out with Evan Burgoyne, that's where the match ended. Evan Burgoyne, same sort of thing. He was like 120, 130 kilos when I pulled him in a super match, and it ended bone on bone with me getting the goods because I'd worn him out in other ways. So that would be honest to God, that's the way I would look to skin the cat this time as well, would be to peel open all the defenses that makes an arm wrestler exposed, and then once it's exposed, put the sword to it. So, yeah, I'd be cautious to try to meet you power on power straight up round one.
Where do you see Paul's strength, Ryan? When you look at Paul, where's his strength and weakness?
Well, I looked at the match against Danny Tesh in 2017. The first video, the first thing I thought, when I saw this match as a possibility, I went, Paul Maiden, Danny Tesh. And thankfully, you'd uploaded it to your channel, Paul, because...
Yeah, I put my losses on Ryan as well.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, it's also an opportunity to be pictured with Tesh.
Yeah, I did actually get 9 views for that.
No, I really appreciate you putting that video up, because otherwise I would have had to troll through the WAL live feed that happened or something. I don't know, to try to find it. But as I would assume for you, you didn't know who Danny was and his style at all when you matched up with him. You probably had no idea. So that does change things, and I do appreciate that. But I saw in you that you have a strong, explosive top roll when needed. I haven't seen many of your hook matches, to be honest, but I also then saw you'd lose your wrist to Calvin, which made me go, oh, okay. But I haven't personally gripped Calvin yet, but I know he's another super hungry dude coming out of Malaysia. And so I on those kind of recent performances, and I know you've had many since then, I imagine that you and I would test our hand and wrist out round one and say, let's see who's going to stand on the top of the mountain and dictate control. If I lost that match there, then I'd have to get real bloody creative, and I don't know. So I would expect Paul to try to take that ace away from me of control round one. I don't think he'd just grip me low and try to hook me or something like that. That's giving me too much of a platform to tee off on. So I feel like it'll be a fight for the top of the hill at first.
Yeah, I think my personal opinion with you, I think I'm faster and I'm stronger. Now, I think when you've got a guy who's faster and stronger, it equals your fucks. So end of. End of that one. No, but I do think generally.
A lot of people think of you,
I'll tell you straight. You're a good modern day technical arm wrestler. You know, honestly, I'll give you a lot of credit, Neil will tell you. And anyone, even though, you know, we have a bit of banter, you're a good technical arm wrestler, and you're probably one of the better technical arm wrestlers progressing through at this moment in time. But I come from an old school arm wrestling background, what Neil was teaching back in the day, Andy Barker, and a few of these guys. And I still carry that on to this day. And that style of technical arm wrestling, you probably not come about. And I think that where you're normally technically better and superior, with me you won't be. I think I'll out wrestle you. And I don't think yet you're strong enough to be able to combat it if I am more technical than you. I think we'll be very evenish on power.
That's really interesting to talk about the eras of arm wrestling in terms of a technical sense. I asked this of John last time I was at John's place, and he said that he has observed a very big shift in the technical style of the bulk of arm wrestlers. And he described that it used to be a cupping sport, and now it's a dragging and pronating sport. And I fall into the dragging pronating category more than the cupping back pressure category.
Do you think that's true universally, Ryan, or do you think that's just a couple of upper echelon guys?
It's probably the upper echelon guys dictating that, and maybe I think the WAL longer pads had a factor to that as well, to encourage the drag a little more. But I know John encouraged me. He said literally, whoever is at the front of the change of the season is gonna reap the most reward. So he was like, dude, all these draggers, start back pressure and cupping them and take them out of their comfort zone. They all want to drag against drag. That's what they used to. So I just appreciate the fact that there are very contrasting styles among eras, and to the untrained eye, they may not see that. To the fans of the sport, they may not see that. But the pullers who have been there and experienced it all, there definitely is a different style. And that's the thing that excites me. I want to feel, if you're categorizing yourself as an old school technical puller, I want to feel that. And
you're gonna feel it, pal.
One thing about me, I rate myself. Why I rate myself technically is not because I have a bag of tricks. It's not because there's a lot of tricks in there. It's because I feel like I'm really adaptive. I feel like I can feel someone's trick and go, oh shit, okay, that's your trick. Shit, okay, that was strong. I'm going to derail that trick now. That's what I consider myself good at. Not necessarily having a bunch of tricks.
No, I don't think you need 1,000,001 moves, but a good arm wrestler feels the match. You feel it coming. You can close your eyes and you can feel every movement coming through your fingertip, your wrist. And that's what I can feel. I'm brought up old school. I've got taught that way. And Neil won 3 world titles that way. And we were very successful in that period of time. And I've taken out I've took my losses like everybody else, but I've had some good wins, and I can pull inside, outside. Like if you want to get onto my arm, you can go onto my arm. I just think that, you just can't do what I can do just yet. I honestly believe I will arm wrestle you. And when you come over, you'll say, Paul, you know what, pal, shake my hand. You're the man.
It's interesting to me, this as well, because I'm going to say that, obviously, one of the reasons I rate Paul as an arm wrestler very, very highly. He's a very good arm wrestler. No doubt about that. One of the things that I'm going to say, I think the same of Ryan. I've gravitated towards Ryan. A lot of people have said, oh, why do you have such respect for Ryan, or why do you hold Ryan in such high regard? Well, number one, I like Ryan as a person, but also one of the reasons that I have gravitated towards Ryan is the depth of understanding that he's seeking and already displays, but also the fact that he can arm wrestle, really can pull, really good. I mean, when I invited Ryan to Arm Wars, the first time ever, one of the reasons was that he appeared to be in pursuit of that. And his first outing within Arm Wars, he showed technical diversity, and he showed a bravery in the match, which I do really respect. People that, okay, that didn't go too well in round 1. I'm going to completely change in round 2, 3, and so on. And so that's, I think you're still there, Ryan, but we've lost your picture, brother. We'll wait for Ryan to come back on.
I'm still here. I could hear all that.
Yeah. So basically, it's funny because when I appreciate good arm wrestling in its many and diverse forms, and I do rate both of you lads very, very highly in that respect, and I do think it's a fascinating match. How I categorise you is that you're both very good arm wrestlers. You've both got your spots. Paul has explosivity on his side. He's also got an extremely strong hand and wrist. It'll be interesting. I think you've got, when the match stops in a grind, in any kind of ugly grinding position, Ryan probably has a little advantage in that area because Paul is purist. He is a purist arm wrestler. He's a very clean, neat lines arm wrestler. That's not to say that he can't get in the trenches. He really can. I mean, people who haven't seen that from Paul, trust me, I have. When he needs to get in there, he'll do it. And that's why I think it could be a really fascinating match. And I think if I was in anything like shape, and it'd be similar with myself and you, Ryan, in some ways. Yeah, be interesting. I think in my day I would have been extremely confident in a match with you for one reason and one reason only. I had a big ace in hand and wrist control, but the explosivity was the key. And I don't know whether you could have stopped me. I don't know. Maybe you could, but I feel like
I'd love to address the not that I don't have a problem with it at all, but the way I've arm wrestled in the last 2 years, I think a lot of people think that I'm not explosive, and it's actually just been a choice. It's been the most successful way for me to beat people that are stronger than me, and that the quest for me to become a better arm wrestler has always been chasing people that are just genuinely stronger than me. And I found that my quickest route to success against those guys was not to try to out-hit them, but to lay traps, lay little deflections that sent them into a position where they derailed themselves. And I became this kind of defensive arm wrestler. I honestly know I'm explosive. Before arm wrestling, I had the fastest serve in Australian tennis, in junior tennis.
Mm-hmm.
I qualified for nationals in javelin. Explosivity has always been there in my arm, growing up. And I know that it's still there. I've just been choosing not to use it. I know that.
That's a bad choice, brother. That's a terrible choice. If it's there, keep the fundamentals as they are and use that explosivity.
Neil, have you got me?
Got you, mate. Speed is a weapon.
I honestly just feel like explosivity, for me...
we've lost Paul, but he'll come back in a second.
Yeah.
Just let's try and... You know what, mate? I'm going to join it up. Let's see if I can get him back in, and I'll join it on here. So around 32 minutes. He's coming back in again now.
Yeah, I'm here.
1 second, yeah. Paul. Well, ignore that, and I'll try and join it up after the call. Just a sec.
Okay.
I want you on when Ryan's talking about
this.
My
mum tried to ring me up.
Okay. Wait till you come on.
So, honestly, I feel like explosivity for me, it shoeboxes me into one technical option for the remainder of that match, at least in the initiation phase. If I don't hit explosively like that, I can very quickly feel and better adapt for super matches. I appreciate tournaments pulling is different, but for super matches, I love having just the option to change where my pressure is in a minute sense. Where if I all out go, it's just cannon v cannon and who's got the better cannon. And there's just less control. And so, but having said that, if a match came down to it, like let's say I'm in a super match and hands and wrists are even and it just comes down to, all right, time to just pull the trigger. We've worked out where the lanes are now. Just pull the damn trigger. I believe I can pull a pretty damn big trigger. And I say that because a lot of people haven't seen it in me, not on the international level. But talk to the people in Australia that I started the sport with, and I was hitting people for 6. Like that was how I began. Just bang, just going. So it's there. It's there.
Sorry, mate. You go on about like your tennis with a massive serve. Understandable, no problem. You talk about throwing a javelin, but both of them sports are not mind and muscle connective. You're not listening to that ready go, and that's where I know loads of guys who've been running 100 meters in 10.7, 11.2, javelin, all these sort of guys coming from track and field, but yet listening to that go, that ready go, and that mind muscle connection where everything hits all at once over, not necessarily going to the pad, Ryan, but just that 2 inches. I think where Neil, the explosivity isn't just from centre to pad. It's that 2 inches to create a position so you can get into the match or win it from that area.
Best example of a hit from me, you can look up myself having a super match against Brett Coots of Australia. Brett was 102 kilos. I was 80 kilos at the time. there was never going to be a control thing for me that day. He beats me, but I hit him to this far from the pad, and he ends up coming through and pressing me. But that's my best example that I can show you guys of me hitting.
Just stop you there for 1 minute, mate. I'll stop 1 minute there. So when you came to pull Anil the first time I saw you, do you think you were still quite quick at that point?
I was going there having essentially only a posting top roll and a hit if the right style was on. But Anil had a better hand and wrist than me straight away. As soon as I got up there, I was like, shit. I knew very instinctively I can't hit. If I hit, I leave my hand way, way gone. So I straight away, that's the adaptive nature in me. I didn't hit because I could feel that if I did, my wrist was going to leave and I was going to be separated and I was going to lose. So I stayed tight and I fought differently. And I fought, I'd never done that in my life. The way I pulled Anil, I didn't even know that was. I remember you saying at the time, yeah. That was just literally, my body felt it and I went, shit, all right, here's where I'm going. And so
that was adaptive. That was truly adaptive and truly impressive. I don't know. I thought it was great.
It would have been impressive. It would have been arm wrestling anybody. Anil was a complete and utter novice, and to this day he's still shite. So that don't count.
I was a year in the sport at that phase, and a year of self-taught. I literally didn't know shit all. There's my first swear word.
I thought you did a great job, mate. I thought it was a good pull. And Anil's a solid arm wrestler. Paul's taking the mick. He knows Anil can pull. What I was going to say was, when I talk about explosive arm wrestlers, there are categories. There's levels of explosive arm wrestler. Okay. For guys who I rate as explosive, people like Ciprianov, people like a young Craig Sanders. I myself fell into that category in my young days. I wouldn't now. And I mean that, because it is that connectivity between, it's all the bang. Betangashevsky was another one who was very, very explosive. It's guys who were extremely quick. Where you're going away, it's where all the other guys who think they're fast in an arm wrestling competition are coming over and going, no, it's fast. That's the guy, and I'm talking about that. So it's having that true natural arsenal of explosivity. To pick up on what Paul was saying there, the one thing that I would say is a good learning opportunity for you in that respect is hitting. I had this conversation with, in fact, myself and Engin were sort of both on this side of the page when I was speaking the other day on a call with John and Devon. I think there's a big misread about speed, and Paul's just alluded to it, in terms of one motion to the pad. Not necessarily. It can be an inch. It can be several inches. It can be halfway to the pad. It can be to a winning position. It doesn't really matter. But it's that getting to where you want to be. And that opens up a great deal of opportunity for unorthodox movement. And the best I've ever seen at that respect, who I sort of tried to emulate and learned a great deal from, there's two arm wrestlers that were exceptional at that. Genuinely exceptional. And I'd seek these guys out for instruction on it. The first one is Svetangashevsky, who was absolutely exceptional. The second one is a guy called Lorenzo Villar from Spain. And if you looked at, in fact, the other day I was on a call with Engin Terzi when we were walking through his career, and he spoke about Lorenzo Villar beating him when Engin was the reigning world champion, a dominant world champion at that time. And he came on and looked at Lorenzo Villar, and Lorenzo looked nothing. He looked like a 12-year-old kid that had just come off his paper round with pin-thin arms, and he blew through Engin. And he did that on just unique explosivity, and he had a short period of his career, very, very, very similar to my own. Ended up cut short through injury. But, wow, that explosivity, and I used to be super impressed with that. There was himself and a fella called Ginito Hukim, and they had that down. They had it dialed in. And I went over, trained with them, watched them, learned that, asked them to walk it through, asked them to walk the movement through. It fascinated me. And I'm still, to this day, whilst I'm now not an arm wrestler myself so much, but I love the nuance.
Of all time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, you know that where I used to teach my lads, of which Paul is one of them, and Andy Barker and so on, with that, trying to get that into them. Look, arm wrestling is a combat sport, and I still to this day would always profess that it is the punch that you didn't see coming which puts you on your ass. And there's a great deal of arm wrestlers out there that are extremely strong and extremely proficient in a lot of techniques. Therefore, a 1 inch or 2 inch unorthodox movement can make the difference between the two men on the day. And I know that I had a tremendous amount of success in my career with more.
I don't disagree, Neil. I feel like as I have become a better arm wrestler in terms of my feel, in terms of my instinct, the punch has become smaller. When I was early days arm wrestling, the punch was a very big movement. Now the punch might be it might be combined with a false ceiling that I'm creating to be a trap for my opponent that they feel, and the punch just might be just might be the smallest movement. That's because the punch with
explosivity comes chaos. The two ordinarily walk hand in hand.
Yeah, Ryan, here's one for you, Ryan. Yeah. You can match pretty much anybody at World for weight for weight. Yeah, any of the top elite guys. Like with your side press.
Talking about the table now. Or talking about
in gym stuff.
On your crappy pulley, etc. You're doing unbelievable weights, far more than I can do. But obviously, when you go and compete with these guys, like you can't think because you can match Crassie here or you can match Crassie here that you're going to beat him in a match. So, is it crossing over for you? Do you honestly believe that what you're doing is crossing over, or is it making you a style that you're chasing your own tail at? Because I don't think you can ever get Crassie's level of strength, but I do believe you can become an unbelievable technical arm wrestler. Sort of on a tipping scale.
It comes in chapters for me, and the chapters are really driven by who I'm chasing at any one given time. And right now I'm chasing the genuine top tier elite guys. The first chapter in me chasing them was an identifying factor that I don't have the base power. No matter where my technical execution was, base power was a problem. That was when I engaged Todd Hutchins. I said, Todd, take my base power to where it needs to be. And he's done that. And I'm happy with where my back and side is in the gym. I am. I'm happy. But the next chapter was, as you said, realizing that that's definitely not enough. That there is so much more to it. The execution off the go, is the next chapter, which is a more hand specific arena. And I might get my hand strength. Let's say Zloty 2020. My hand strength might be way better prepared, but I still might get my ass kicked because I couldn't glue it all together, like you're saying, and actually execute it. So that it might be 3 years of these chapters, but the thing is, I've got the feelers out there. I'm listening, and I'll learn. I'm not stubborn enough to say that I won't. So I appreciate those other things, and I'm just stepping through them. When I pull someone my own strength, I don't want to try to sound arrogant here, but I feel when I pull someone my same physical strength, I absolutely kick their ass.
Yeah.
Make it easy. It just feels so easy.
Sure.
I am balanced with people stronger than me. That's right from the beginning. That's how I feel. Everyone that I have a screamer with is normally physically quite substantially stronger than me. So,
well, what about Jordan Davis?
Well, he's the one dude. He's the only dude that is the rule.
But you train together. And when it's difficult to hide all of these progressions when he's the guy that's reading every chapter that you're reading.
I literally taught Jordan from ground floor to where he was then able to become himself. But Jordan is cut from the same cloth in terms of the technical approach to the sport that I am. He has a different set of tools, and he hides his weapons as well as anybody else. Like, he is a scary dude for me every time I grip him. And the scariest thing about him is not his power. It's the chaos. I don't know which direction his freaking dangerous hand is going to go. And so that scares me every time. I'm like, gee, and when refs set me and Jordan up, it's like this constant little micro dance that we're doing in our hands where we're foxing, feeling, changing, adapting, ready to try to anticipate. And Jordan is incredibly good at hiding where he's actually going. And so that's what makes him scary for me. I rate
follow the
Jordan.
same routine as you? Is he following
very
the same
similar.
routine?
Not right now. Like he doesn't. He hasn't been in a period where he's trying to increase base power. He hasn't because it's been so fruitful for him remaining in the hand. But I know that season's coming for him, and that season has arrived later for him because the ratio of hand to arm is different for him than it is for me. It arrives sooner in me because my hand at the end of the day is just an average size hand. His hand is bigger than. So there goes the camera again. His hand is bigger than Devin's, and he's only in the lightweights. So it gives you perspective on the size of his hand. So the tools that he can utilize with that are very different. So he isn't training side like I am and back pressure. He's always been more in the hand because he still feels like the people he's chasing, his best option is to just dominate the hand even more so. But I do believe he's going up the middleweights now. He's going to feel like he's lacking some side pressure and some back pressure pretty soon. So
you're emulating all the top. You emulate John Bazine, Devin Lerac. There's been Todd Hutchins. But do you think sometimes that might hurt you? Do you not think you need to find Ryan Bowen's own style instead and sort of settle on your own? Because all the top guys are just pretty much like Neil had his own, John Bazine had his own, Devin's got his own. Todd Hutchins has got his own. Rustam Babayev, Kurdigeli Angobayev, all the top guys. Just Yanis Amolins is like for me my favourite guy to watch. All these guys have their own. They just that's who they are. But with you emulating all these different people, is it not taking away from what you can actually do yourself?
It's a fascinating question. I love it, and it's a question that I have asked myself many times as well because we only get one go at building the best version of us. One lifetime, one lifetime in the sport. And I'm constantly asking. Do you not think
it could be that everybody's gone on that journey a bit though? Because, I mean, I know, everybody pieces together elements of other people's game. Certainly I did. Yeah. I mean, not as publicly. You've obviously done it probably the most publicly of anyone in the history of the sport because of the nature of what you do for a living. But I think everybody's taken those elements of someone else's game and pieced them together, just perhaps more subtly.
Yeah, I think you can nick a few pieces, Neil, but there's nicking them and then there's for me.
You're not talking about in depth.
Yeah, like he's done Todd Hutchins. I'm sorry, Ryan, but you did Todd Hutchins' style. Todd Hutchins was your strength coach. You come back from Zloty and then you're on Crassy Machine, and we all knew that you needed to start with a straight wrist and square shoulders. That you suffered. I was there in Zloty. You suffered. You weren't used to it, and we knew you was going to suffer. Even though I did cheer for you, and that really did hurt me. But you're suffering, so you've changed over to that now. So, I mean, who's going to be coaching you next? I mean, fucking hell, there's an ice cream man over here. I'll get him if you want.
Honestly, addressing the Todd Hutchins thing, Todd Hutchins was always has been engaged as my strength coach,
so
not my arm wrestling coach.
Have you
No, he's my strength coach. He's not my arm wrestling coach. So I engage with Todd on help make me strong, not help shape the way I arm wrestle. Todd likes to occasionally try to tell me that I should arm wrestle kind of like him, but I always, thanks Todd, but no, I'm good. I arm wrestle. I'm a medium-sized arm wrestler within my weight category. I'm not tall, I'm not short, my hand's not big, it's not small. I feel I need to be able to counterattack everywhere. So I try to maintain a well-rounded strength set of tools in the strength regard. But in terms of how I arm wrestle, I do feel like I arm wrestle like me. I don't feel like I arm wrestle like anyone. But that being said, when I was a kid, the way I learned to play tennis was in my backyard against the wall. And I used to have, in my mind, Pete Sampras against Andre Agassi. And when Pete was hitting the ball, I hit the ball with his mannerisms, with his style, with everything. And then when Agassi hit the ball, I hit it with his style, even with his facial expressions. Like, in my mind, it was just a genuine Grand Slam title match between these two. I did the same thing in arm wrestling when my first 2 years in the sport, when there was no knowledge of technique at all existed in Australia. The three people I studied most was Devon Larratt, John Brzenk, and Evgeny Prudnik. And I used to just, in my mind, become
pretty good ones.
Yeah, I become those.
Talking about from arm wrestling perspective, that's pretty good ones. And master arm wrestlers, all three.
And literally in my mind, I would say, do exactly what Prudnik does, do exactly what John does, and even if it feels weak as piss, do it and ask yourself, why the hell did they do that then? And so I have shadow boxed those three guys in particular a lot in my early years, and people might pick up on it. Every now and then I might literally pull out a mannerism in my facial expressions even, like one of these guys. I don't even know, but I have my own idiosyncrasies. But as an arm wrestler, I just go where I feel.
Your defensive body shape emulates Devon a lot. You're like a baby version of Devon, like a small version. And when I say that, that's not detrimental. I don't mean that in a derogatory fashion. It's not detrimental to you to do that. It's actually really good. I mean, I've always said Paul does a lot of things very similar to me. He's like a bigger version of me. Everything about Paul's bigger than me, apart from one thing, I'll say. But
not what Alison said, Nog. When I
oh my God, that's who we're on at my house. Yeah. I go for a walk one day. He's got him round. Hey, what about that?
Yeah.
Anyway,
honestly, I want to say I do believe that, like, out of all those three guys, I do agree. Devon is the one that I actually spent the most time thinking. I was just a fan of his technical prowess on the table. Yeah, so I studied him the most and I emulated him the most. But I immediately recognized, sorry guys.
I
immediately recognized that I don't have the same levers that Devon's got. So it's crazy for me to just try to emulate Devon in the way that I learned to arm wrestle.
Yeah.
I took his principles, but I said, I've got levers, and I turned out I have the same elbow to fingertip as John. So I'm like, as much as I want to be able to do all that Devon can do, I know I need to be more like John and more like Prudnik in terms of my execution off the go.
I think for things like that, and also you've got to go a little bit further than just elbow to fingertip. I think it's also where all the elements of your wrist and hand connect. For example, John's hand is significantly larger than yours, significantly wider than yours. So, so it's the distribution of the elements within the arm that are very different.
I'd agree with that. I have a short bicep. But I have a very long forearm. It gives you different. Neil's got a long bicep and not a very short forearm. That's that always enabled Neil to be in a fantastic position for pulling his strap.
This was a question I literally put to John last time I was at his place. We had this conversation and I said, John, I've got a smaller hand than you. I struggle to cup compared to the way you can with your distribution of the size of your hand. And he said, yeah, I agree. With your small hand, you need to be, John's recommendation was to me, invest more time into back pressure, knuckles up arm wrestling. He saw that as a biomechanical, fruitful kind of future for me.
For the application of power, I would agree entirely. It's a restriction you can't get around though, because fundamentally if you've not got the same distance, so effectively you've got a much shorter lever, what that does do is it cuts down a sphere of transition. You can't possibly transition as effectively as someone who has that superior leverage there, whilst maintaining the strength and control. It gives you the opportunity to get, from what John's saying, it gives you the opportunity to generate strength and generate power. But what it doesn't do is allow you that transition. That's why John's what he is. He's designed well for it.
Barbosa was a perfect example, really. I mean, tiny hand, short forearm, and the amount of power. I mean, he's a porting top roller, and he's challenged the best.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at 55 minutes in, and whilst many of the people in the world are going to hate me for doing this. That draws to conclusion this first episode with Paul Maiden and Ryan Bowen. But if you think it's ending there, guys, you're very much mistaken. We will be back with these guys but before we go, I just want you to plug your YouTube channels again. First of all, Ryan, tell us all about it, mate. Where can people go to catch more Ryan Bowen?
Man, pound for pound arm wrestling, a lot of stuff happens there, whether it's following my detailed training, whether it's vlogging for travel to tournaments or just talking shit with Lachlan Adair and Jordan Davis. Anything's on there. It's all good stuff. Pound for pound arm wrestling.
And Paul Maiden, likewise, brother, where can people go if they want to catch up on your stuff on the UK and Ireland scene?
UK and Ireland arm wrestling channel in Mighty's Corner. You're going to get arm wrestling. You're going to get interviews. You're going to get shit talking. And best of all, we've got none of that ginger tosser on Ryan Bowen. So come and have a go.
Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for this one. Remember, if you do like what we do here on the Supernatural Strength channel, please like it, subscribe, share it around the place. And a personal note, hope you and your families are all safe. Fellas, thank you very much for joining me on the show, and we'll have these two guys back on here very shortly. Till that time, guys, take it easy, peeps.
Thanks, Neil.